Mangrove forests dominate coastlines in Southeast Asia and are essential to marine ecology. There are between 54 and 75 different mangrove species that adapt to their environments. Mangroves benefit both animals and human civilization. They are used as barriers to protect humans from storms and to prevent erosions. They are also habitats for animals that provide a great place to feed, mate, nurse, and live. Animals such as royal Bengal tigers, manatees, sea turtles, tropical fish, and migrating birds live and depend on mangrove forests. Mangroves provide nutrients, expel salt, and filter water for the benefit of many animals. The root system provides nurseries for baby coral reef fish, detritus that decomposes from the tree and gives nutrients to animals, and the purification system that provides clean water by filtering out sediment for the coral reefs surrounding the forests. These dependent relationships between the mangroves and other species is called symbiosis.
Shrimp farming is a type of aquaculture, which is the farming of sea species for human consumption. Since 1973, with the introduction of commercial shrimp farming, shrimp aquaculture has grown rapidly. Farmers began pumping shrimp ponds with nutrients and chemicals to help the shrimp mature faster and to fit more shrimp larvae into a small pond. Since then, production has risen as sharply as the global demand for it. Before commercial shrimp farming, shrimp production in a pond was about 4,000 shrimp per acre. Now it's over 121,000 shrimp per acre. Because the global demand for shrimp, especially in the United States and Europe, continues to rise, so will the amount of shrimp produced. Last year alone, over 15 billion pounds of shrimp were consumed globally. Due to the high demand for shrimp farming evolved from using low production ponds to high production open system ponds. Farmers need to build their ponds near an open water supply, usually on wetlands. A favorite spot for farmers is mangrove forests. To make room for shrimp farms, farmers cut down many mangrove trees and plants, affecting the animals that live within a mangrove forest, thus destroying the habitat. The destruction of mangrove forests are detrimental to the environment because animals and humans depend on them.
Unfortunately, the rise of open production shrimp farming has caused the destruction of 50% of all mangrove forests in recent years. When industries clear-cut mangroves, fish populations decline and many animals lose a habitat. Also, the destruction of mangroves decreases the amount of clean water, as well as makes tropical environments more susceptible to hurricanes, tsunamis, and tidal waves. The chemicals in oversaturated water that farmers use to help spur production also damages mangrove forests. When a shrimp growing cycle is complete, farmers empty their wastewater into mangroves. Because the wastewater is filled with acids, bacteria, and salts, which get into the soil and make plant growth impossible, many mangrove plants die. As a result, with less food to go around, the carrying capacity, or number of organisms able to live within a habitat, shrinks, and many more animals living within the mangroves die. In addition to creating acid in the soil, greenhouse gases are emitted from the industrious form of shrimp farming. This creates an overabundance of gas cycling, meaning that too much carbon dioxide is being circulated into the soil and back up into the atmosphere. In fact, 20% of all carbon emissions in the world are caused by shrimp aquaculture. That is the amount of yearly carbon emissions from the United Kingdom. To make matters worse, the wastewater spurs algal blooms. As shown in the image, algae are born out of nutrient-rich freshwater, and when the algae cells die and decompose, the oxygen within the water around them is reduced. Because of this, nearby organisms have less oxygen to survive on.
However, most shrimp farmers are not greedy, shadowy corporate leaders. Instead, the large majority are poor farmers living in China, Thailand, and Ecuador, among other places, and shrimp farming is their way out of poverty. In Thailand, people who switched into the shrimp farming business saw their incomes rise from a meager $2,000 a year from making rice patties to between $20,000 and $40 a year from farming shrimp. The expansion of shrimp farming has saved thousands of human lives. Shrimp farming has also gotten the attention of investors and governments throughout the world, and many now see it as an easy, cheap path out of poverty for poorer countries. For example, in Ecuador, shrimp farming has become the country's third largest export. Since 1979, their gross income from shrimp farming has skyrocketed from $18 million per year to over $1 billion per year today. Shrimp farming is integral to theirs and many other economies, as well as to the livelihoods of many farmers. To slow production or pay more for more expensive equipment to help reduce the environmental impact, they argue, would be detrimental. It would send many countries and thousands of farmers back into deep poverty.
As mangrove forests begin to disappear, the local communities surrounding the forests are being affected economically. Individuals' livelihoods depend on the mangrove environment. With the increased expansion of industrial aquaculture, these massive shrimp farms take away careers from local shrimp farmers. For example, because of the horrible environmental standards in Khao Mau, Vietnam, large companies and individual shrimp farmers are forced to abandon failed shrimp farms. Due to the erosion, pollution, and shrimp disease, the costs for the upkeep of these failing shrimp farms are too high. As large companies continue expanding shrimp aquaculture, mangrove environments begin to decrease. When the company needs to leave because of the lack of environmental upkeep, it is not so much the company that gets hurt, but the local shrimp farmer who loses his job. Since shrimp aquaculture decreases the amount of species of fish that rely on mangroves, this reduces the income of fish farmers that do not rely solely on shrimp. Ever since the beginning of the shrimp farming industry in 1973, the seasonal lagoons once used to cultivate salt have now been taken over to create large shrimp farms, again weakening another market for local communities.
A solution requires these characteristics: to maintain the integrity of ecosystems, to promote social and economic equality between regions, and to balance the amount of natural resources and the demand for those resources in coastline areas. Inability to export shrimp through traditional farming methods led to the creation of commercial shrimp farming, or the open production system, which destroys mangrove forests. The negative effects of shrimp farming have a solution: the closed production system.
The closed production system is a man-made and technologically advanced building that strategically farms shrimp without the use of pesticides. The environmental profits of these facilities are incredible, but the startup cost is expensive, so these facilities are rare. The closed system decreases pollution and disease from coastline water exchange, which is an effect of medicinal additives. These facilities do not destroy mangrove forests, and they do not harm the environment in any way. They also farm shrimp without the use of chemicals and pesticides, which is beneficial to consumers. The harvest rates are large, and farmers can stagger the harvest for more production and profit. These facilities are highly efficient for profit, production, and the environment, but there still needs to be more investment into this technology for the mangroves to be saved from destruction.